Hello, everybody, and welcome to day one of 5 days to unlock your confidence and purpose, to find how to live with meaning and purpose in your life. We all want to be confident. I don't know one person out there that if you said, do you want to be the most confident woman in the room, that would be like, no, I'm going to pass on that. Everybody wants to be confident. But confidence it's an interesting thing. You know, people are like, well, you're born confident, or you either got it or you don't. It's not true. Confidence comes from how you feel about yourself. If you feel like you are on fire and unstoppable, then that's what you are, because everything is mindset. So if in your mind you can see yourself as a successful woman in whatever area you pick, whether you pick in the workplace, whether you pick at home, whether you pick in your relationships, wherever you pick, you can be the most successful woman if you believe you can be. So these next 5 days, I'm going to give you some tools to help you find out if you're not confident, where is that confidence waning at? Because I've seen people that will march into a meeting and good God, they're on fire. And then you go out to lunch with them and they just kind of sit there and stare at you. You're like, where's the disconnect? You know, or you meet them outside in the evening at happy hour and they're like, blah. But you go to a meeting with them, or you're there during a day with them and they don't have it. It's because confidence, like I said, it ebbs and flows. You can have it at work, but not at home. I want to help you have confidence everywhere. I want you to walk into every room and be confident. I want you to learn how to, if you're not confident, and I've walked into some rooms. I mean, I was down at the state legislature on Friday, and there was an issue that I wasn't confident with, because I was kind of like, oh, I didn't prepare for this issue. But I know how to get myself in state. I know how to get myself in there. I know how to listen and kind of search in my mind the whole time. Now, even if I'm not sure, I look confident. And if you look confident and you feel confident, you project that image. And people love confidence. People love confident people. And if you get around somebody that doesn't like confident people and they're out there, just kick them to the curb. So today we're going to talk about the story you tell yourself in the area where you don't feel confident. Now you might be like, well, I don't know. I don't know where I don't feel confident. If you want to get my 5-day, Confidence Reclaimed Will of Balance, just put your email or DM me the email and I'll send it over to you. It takes you through some good questions. How do you feel about your physical health, your relationships, your mental place, your finances, your spiritual growth, your career, your personal time? Because you really have to figure out the one thing. Now, when you start doing transformation, the easiest thing for you to heal will be the first thing that pops up. And I know that sounds counterintuitive, but it's true. That, if you're, and we'll talk about weight, because I think weight, especially as we go into Thanksgiving and in the holidays, and then, everybody sets weight goals in January. So we're going to talk about weight, is trying to figure out the story behind your weight. And a lot of times, the story behind your weight, when you first start asking yourself, will be kind of an easier one. Well, I kind of eat too much, or when I get stressed, I eat, or I love chocolate chip cookies. But there's usually something deeper. Weight is always, always, always linked to something churning and burning within you. It's just how it is. I mean, I know people will be there like, well, I come from a chubby family. Well, okay, maybe you do, but was there something churning and burning? So you have to kind of get to that place to discover where the weight comes from. And you have to understand the story you tell yourself, because the story you tell yourself is the reason either you're going to heal it or you're not going to heal it. Now, I've done videos for a long time, for a couple of years now, and I've talked about my weight up and down, and how I had a Nana who was just 4'8", 300 pounds, and you hugged her, was a hug of love. And my mom, who was very weight conscious, but in my defense, she was a brittle diabetic, so she had to be on this very special diet, and of course she was thin. My sister's naturally thin, and although I love and adore my sister, I always have to bust her chops about that. But my mom told me when I was a little girl and I was chubby, she goes, well, don't worry about it. You have the fat gene. So that was the story I told myself. well, I lose 5 pounds here, 10 pounds there, 30 pounds there, but I have the fat gene. So you have to find that story you tell yourself. But the fat gene really wasn't the bottom line story. That was the first one that popped up and made sense. And I'm like, well, okay, if I have the fat gene, what do you expect? I do my best. So look at yourself, the story. And when you look at it, and you can, I'm using weight. You can use whatever you want. But if you want to use weight, get out a pencil and paper and write down everything that you feel around your weight. Whether, your failures, your diet failures, although you really can't fail. It just didn't work out at that moment in time. I don't like when people say, oh, I always fail. You didn't fail. It didn't work out in that moment in time because you didn't have all the facts. When you have all the facts, failure can still happen because of all the outside stuff, but you won't feel that way because you had all the facts and did the best you could. So, but think of what you failed, your losses, your disappointments, what you tell yourself when you're eating. When you go to grab a cookie, what do you tell yourself? Or when you sit down and eat a beautiful steak dinner with a baked potato and broccoli and, scalloped potatoes, whatever. What is the story you tell yourself when you want to start losing weight? Do you instantly think, well, I'm going to try to lose weight the first of the year, or I'm going to lose 50 pounds? Well, right there is probably a little tough because you're setting a big goal. You kind of want to set that down, but we'll talk about that later. I just want you to write down everything you have around the issue you want to work on. If you want to work on a relationship issue, maybe you keep attracting the exact same type of person into your life. No matter how hard you try, you keep attracting the same type of person. They may appear different, but in the end, they're the same type of thing. What is the story you're telling yourself that you're attracting these people into your lives? Because everything sits in your story. So, write down what causes you pain around whatever the story is. And again, around weight. What causes you pain? What do you say to yourself when you try to lose weight and you don't? Just sit down and write out your story. And you can start, preferably at your first time you thought you were overweight. And I say that because I always thought I was a chubby child. My mother always told me I was a chubby child, and I thought I was a chubby child. And I was standing, like a couple years ago, and I was looking at my high school graduation picture. And my husband he's like, you just look so cute and happy. And I said, yeah, but I was chubby. And he looked at me, he says, you're far from chubby in that picture. Why do you think that? And so my mom always told me I was a chubby child. I weighed like 125, and I was chubby. And he's like, man, I don't know, that's not true. And then I looked at the picture differently. And I was like, I really wasn't. It's the story I told myself, though. And the other story I told myself was because I had the fat gene, I couldn't lose weight. So you have to dig deep. And we're going to spend some time over this digging deep. So I'm not just going to say, figure out the story, good luck, talk to you guys tomorrow, and we'll talk about something else. We're going to really dive into this because, as I keep repeating, everything in your life, regardless of what you have or don't have, sits in the story you tell yourself. It doesn't matter what anybody else tells you. You could, I love the story where you have two brothers, one's a lawyer and one's in jail, and their parents were drug abusers, their mother's a prostitute, the dad robbed banks. And when they went to the lawyer, they're like, how did you become a lawyer with your childhood? And he said, well, what else could I be? And then he went to the child in prison and said, how did you become a bank robber? And he's like, well, my childhood, what else could I be? They told themselves two different stories. So it's the story that you're telling yourself wrapped around the issue you want to heal. And once you heal that, your confidence takes off. Because now you're confident because you're not telling yourself a disempowering story. You're telling yourself a much more empowering story. And we'll work on some of that too. So I just want you to sit down and work on it. Now, say you don't know. Say, well, I don't know, Karen. I'm just here because, I want to learn how to raise my confidence. Cool. I want you to sit down, get a pencil and paper, and think of what story do I tell myself about my childhood that stands out. It can be anything. What is your go-to story that you tell yourself about your childhood? that whenever you kind of sit and think about your childhood, it's the one that you go to. And I want you to write that down, and I want you to write down the memory as best as you can remember it. Don't need to go ask your siblings, don't need to go ask anybody else. This is your story. Doesn't matter what you tell yourself. I have my sister, I'm very close with my sister. There's so many times I cannot tell you how we have two different views of our childhood. Two totally different views. I mean, I've looked at her before and said, were you raised in the same house I was raised in? It's our worldview. It's how we viewed the situation. So sit down and write down your go-to memory from childhood and everything you remember about it. What pattern do you keep playing over? What do you keep seeing over and over? And then tomorrow we're going to revisit that pattern, and we're going to start working on healing some of this stuff, kind of getting it going. If you want to write down what your issue is in comments, feel free, or you can DM me. Because I want you guys at the end of 5 days, and I purposely scheduled this over Thanksgiving, because people are like, well, I don't know why you did it over Thanksgiving. Although, true confession, Thanksgiving will probably be a tape, but who knows? Because this is when stuff pops up. Family events, bam. Everything you've ever had pops up. Either you're sitting at the dinner table and somebody throws something out to you. So I kind of want to give you the tools before you get to Thanksgiving, and then kind of help you Thursday and Friday, and maybe we'll do a little chat on Monday as well, because this is it. This is game time. If you want to figure out what is holding you back from your confidence the next 6 weeks, or however long between now and Christmas it is, I think it's 6 weeks, maybe 7, you'll figure it out. You'll start looking at it, because this is when everything starts getting pointed out to you. And even if you're like, well, I'm not going anywhere, I'm staying home, I'm not going, I'm not going anywhere, doesn't matter, it's still going to pop up, because that's how memories work. When you start getting around holidays, memories pop up. So pay attention to the stories you're telling yourself. If you want to write down multiple stories, feel free. I mean, when I first started this, I had all kinds of stories, especially around the holidays. And I just picked the one that I thought, well, I'm going to pick, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to pick the easiest one to heal, because I want to see if this works. So let's get going. If you want my Wheel of Balance, put down in the comments yes, or put it over in DM, and I'll send it out to you. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm going to try to go live. I know I told everybody I would be taping these, but I really would rather be live. That way we can have some real conversation around it. But tomorrow will probably be towards the afternoon. I'll put down in the comments when I think it'll be. I'm guessing right now it'll probably be about 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, because my schedule just went crazy this morning. Okay, I hope this helped you guys. Christy, thank you for your support. I'm reading your messages. Thank you so much. You know I am your biggest fan. If you guys don't follow Christy Hall, follow her. I am one of her biggest fans. Talk to you guys later. See you tomorrow. Have a great day. If you have any questions, comments, or anything, write them in the comments below. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.